am coming on this morning. First of all, I am tired. Um, I don't know about y'all, but I have been working really, really hard. I think during this crisis, it's been like even more focus on working and getting things launched and getting things done and just, getting everything new that I'm working on up and going. I have a 6-month plan that I'm working on, and I'm planning on taking the fourth quarter off, and I've just been kind of go, 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 go. And yesterday I felt it. I was kind of like exhausted. I was getting really tired. And then, and this morning, kind of the same thing. I'm just tired. Hence me being in my pajamas with you this morning, because I'm just tired, guys. And it's like, I woke up this morning and I was like, I don't feel like promoting my business. I don't feel like promoting my courses. I don't feel like doing anything. And so I'm sitting here in my pajamas, sitting here with my coffee, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna chill. And and there's been things that, go through my mind, guys, and I've been so focused on business, that I don't come on just to have our chats. I don't come on just to talk about miscellaneous love, relationship stuff. I don't come on and talk about, whatever. And so this morning I was thinking, it's been on my mind all week long. You can't tell I'm wearing PJs. I really do have on PJs, guys. I really got on PJs. I don't know if you can see my PJs, but I really, really do have on my PJs. It's just that some of it is, what the old Navy PJs, guys. That kind of look. Looks like a thermal, but it's PJ bottoms. And so it's like I'm just relaxing, just chilling today. And hold on, I forgot to turn off notifications over here on this phone, guys. Right? Nothing wrong with taking a moment to chill. And that's what I had to tell myself. I'm like, okay, Rebecca, you're going so hard, but you got to relax too, because that's when we stay in that flow, right, of God's energy and just creativity and everything, is when we're relaxed and we let things just flow. And so I didn't check on my technical stuff before I came on, guys. So this morning I called this the Rebecca Lynn Post Show, because I'm just going to talk about some different things that have been on my mind. You guys can share your thoughts too, and in no particular order. I am going to start doing once a week, doing the Rebecca Lynn Pope Show, where we can discuss topics, that are trending and things that are going on, and I can give advice and answer questions and things like that. I am going to start doing that. I just have got to find the time. So this is like really my first installment of the Rebecca Lynn Pope Show, guys. So if you guys want to ask questions or talk about whatever you want to talk about, I'll answer questions, we can discuss and have dialogue, but just more like kind of just relaxed and fun. One of the things that was on my mind when I first woke up this morning, and I was about to post it, and it became too long. Like I was writing too much, and I was like, okay, this is one of those things where I need to do a video and talk about it versus trying to write it out on Facebook, right? Because it was just getting too long. And it's one of my observations this week with clients, coaches across Facebook. People are in the middle of a lot of fear and insecurity and uncertainty right now, and I see something this week that's been kind of common, like not just this week, it's only Wednesday, but in this past couple weeks, people will use the will of God for so many different things. Like if there's something that they're afraid of, or there's a fear that they have about doing something or being challenged to do something, it's kind of like, well, if it's the will of God, right? If it's the will of God, or we'll see if it's the will of God. This type of terminology, right? Just all different types of phrases using the will of God. And I've observed, you guys, I just analyze everything. I listen to people and watch people and I analyze everything. And a lot of the time, what I realize when people use that phrase, a lot of the time it has to do with their fears, or it has to do with something that they are feeling intimidated by, challenged by, not certain that they can do it, afraid to even try, you know, holding back from doing what you know you need to do in order that you know you're going to have to do it, but you'll try to use the will of God to kind of like give yourself an out or a pass at that moment, because you're going to try to do something else instead because that's what is a little more comfortable for you. And I think it would just be better if you're just kind of outright honest with yourself about something. Don't try to put it on the will of God. The will of God is for you to prosper and to live abundantly and do well and be happy and live your bliss. So don't put things on the will of God. Just say, "Oh, I don't think I'm ready for that. I'm scared, or I'm intimidated, or I'm going to have to work up to that, or I'm still dealing with that. I'm still trying to get ready for that. I know I'm going to have to do it, but I just I'm not ready right now, or I have fears or insecurities around whether I'm capable of doing that. What do you think about that?" I would just be I think it would be better to just be honest and stop trying to hide things behind religion, right? Or God, because don't put that on God. Don't put things on God. That is not God. That's not God. A lot of the time, your anxiousness that you feel about something is not God's warning or God's guidance not to do it. It's called anxiety. It's called fear. It's called, I'm afraid, I'm coming out of my comfort zone, I'm not comfortable, I don't know what I'm doing, feels a little out of my element. And that anxiousness is not God's warning to go back. It's really just fear. And so I think it would be better to kind of like call it what it is. You know what I'm saying, guys? Versus like trying to hide behind God's trying to keep me from something. God's trying to protect me. God's giving me an inner warning or an inner nudge not to do this. No, you're just afraid because new things are hard. New things are difficult. Angela, you said something up here. I'm going to come back and catch your. Let me tell you something. You gave me a word from God in the Zoom meeting in the writer's workshop. When you mentioned the book and the last piece to healing, the Holy Spirit definitely made his presence very known. He wanted me to know what you said is true for me. Amen, right? And sometimes, so using Angela's example in the writer's workshop as part of our author's challenge, right? So using Angela's example, it's kind of like if she joined up for the author's challenge and she's in the coach consortium and she's, going to say, I'm writing this next book or I'm writing my book. And then she starts to deal with like a bunch of anxiety because all of a sudden the ideas of writing her story and telling her truth and the things that she's really gonna get ready to write about, the reality sets in and it's like, oh my God, how is this going to be received? How are people going to judge me? What about people that know me, or they're going to know who I'm talking about, or so now all of this worry, stress, fear, anxiety starts to set in, right? And for people who want to jump religious really quickly, they'll try to say that anxiousness, oh, that's God telling you maybe shouldn't do this. What I'm saying is, it's not God telling you shouldn't do it. It's called good old-fashioned fears, right? Good morning. It's good old-fashioned fears, guys, trying to keep you from leveling up, trying to keep you from telling your truth, trying to keep you from going to the next level by getting to that next level of transparency and honesty and realness and also taking back, the secrets and telling the truth about your life and about people and about what you've been through. And that's that whole next level of freedom and authenticity to be able to live your truth, which is going to open you up for an amazing flow into your life of of next level abundance, next level, because divine, spirit of divine, spirit, God, is truth. And it's all truth. You know, it's all knowing. It's real. God is real. And it's no facade. It's no faking. It's no posturing. It's no, God is just free. The Spirit of God is freedom, which means you don't have to mind what you say, or they might know, or you're not hiding things. You're not masking yourself. It's about being vulnerable. Yes, Queen. It's about being vulnerable. And so the more vulnerable you get, and the more real you show up every day to live your life, the greater your life is going to become. The more, it's a journey. I'm not saying it just happens overnight. It's a journey. But as you open up and open up and open up and you deal, you know, if you're the first one in your family to peel back that Band-Aid and you know, open up and get real and start dealing with the real toxic issues and patterns and abuse and pain and all kinds of stuff that's been generational in your family, of course, are you going to be the black sheep? Of course, are you going to be the problem? Are you going to be the one who's stirring the pot and rocking the boat and making the problems? Yeah, that's how they're going to see you. That's how they're going to feel, guys. But in reality, you're just the one who's getting healed. You're the one who's getting healthy. You're the one who's breaking out. Hey, Kimberly from Pennsylvania. You're the one who's changing the direction, the trajectory of your family's legacy by making different choices instead of just going along with, this is why no one in our family's married. This is why there's a history of abuse generation to generation. This is why there's a history of poverty and lack generation to generation. You're breaking that cycle by getting real and honest. So it's not easy. But don't hide your fears behind the will of God. You know, right now, people are being pressured and feel uncertain, and it's like, oh, I need to create more streams of income. I need to get out of this job. I need to go ahead and pursue my dreams. I need to go ahead and become a coach and start the business. Do what, in other words, right now, there's like, people have enough time on their hands where they're out of the rat race, right? Where it's kind of like, whoa, I need to really reevaluate my life. And one of the things that you can come to realize really quickly is that fear has been holding you back from so much in life. Fear will hold you back from giving it your all in starting a business. Fear will hold you back. Hi, Grace in Cincinnati. Fear will hold you back from falling in love. Fear will hold you back from losing weight. Fear will hold you back from living your best life. It's fear, guys. Fear. That's right, Angela. The feeling of anxiety hurts and God's Spirit is calming. And so for somebody who says, okay, Rebecca, you're talking about God's will versus fear. How do I know it's fear versus God's will? How do you know? Right? When you get that anxious feeling, how do you know if that's a sign that God's saying, no, don't do this, go the other direction, this isn't for you? That's a warning. Or that anxious feeling when it's really fear and not God's guidance. How do you know the difference? Here's how you know the difference. You get still. You get still, which means, first of all, you're going to have to learn how to get still if you don't know how to get still and calm your mind, which for me means getting on my meditation pillow, getting still, quieting my mind, quieting my body, getting still. And in that place of stillness, asking the question, or even just tapping into the answer of, is this what I'm supposed to do? And the Spirit of God that is inside of you at all times, and it's only a matter of you getting still enough to quiet and silence the chaos around us and the noise around us, getting still and centered to where now you're quiet enough to hear that inner voice, that still small voice, the quiet spirit inside of you. Now, in that quiet place, you'll know if what you're being called to do. God will be, listen, that spirit is so real with you, you'll be like, God, I know I'm supposed to do this. And it's just fear. And you'll just know. You'll just know. You'll know. In quietness. Not with all the chaos and noise, but in quietness. That is my answer to you. For knowing whether or not something is a nudge to warn you, or if it's fear that's trying to get you to say it's God. Okay? That's right. Partner with the Holy Spirit. Yes, Queen. Okay. So the other thing that's really was on my mind this week, guys. So this, warning with this topic. Warning. I'm not trying to trigger anyone. I'm not trying to fat shame anyone. I'm not trying to, anyway, I'm just going to say what I have to say. So months and months ago, we were in a mastermind for my inner circle, and we were meeting in person. And one of the attendees, one of our members said, one of her goals in this year was to get back to bait weight. And everybody in the room was like, bait weight? What is bait weight? She was newly single, going through a divorce, and she had gained some weight. And she was saying, hey, Natalie, she was saying, I got to get back to bait weight. And we were like, what's bait weight? She's like, bait weight is what your weight for you, where you literally are catching, right? You're catching attention. It's whatever the size, weight, or whatever for you to where you are attractive to the opposite sex, or if you're whoever likes you, right? And literally this week, I have been in the process. I have taken quarantine, you guys, as an opportunity to lose weight. And I know that sounds really crazy for some of you because you're like, okay, it's really hard right now to lose weight. But the truth is that for me, it's been a godsend. Like there is always opportunity in every situation, guys. There's always opportunity, right? That's just the truth. There's always an opportunity. And in quarantine, one of my biggest struggles has been since I got married. So for like literally 5 years now, since I met my husband, started dating him. My husband is a Southern man. He's a Southern man. When I met him, so here's some backstory, guys. Here's the backstory. I've always struggled with my weight. I've always been a thick girl. I've always, had to work hard to maintain my weight. I've literally been one of those women who's been on a diet her whole life. My daddy said I came out the womb with thunder thighs. Like I was like one of those little girls who was always a thick little chubby little girl, grew into my curves, as I got a little older. But I got sick when I was about 13, and they put me on a drug that made me get really, really big. And it caused me to have some body image issues. It caused me to struggle, in my mind, even though, kind of like no matter how small I get. This is why I can really relate to people who have weight issues or feel like a fat girl on the inside. No matter kind of like how thin you get or how much you change on the outside, there's something inside that still makes you feel like you're a fat girl, because especially if you went through body image changes around in the teenage years, like me at 13, you're really forming identity around who you are and how you see yourself. And right at that time is when I got sick and I got really, really big. So it's kind of like, throughout my life, my adult life, my weight has fluctuated, having children and everything, my weight has fluctuated. But when I was single, guys, I literally worked really hard. I had to work hard to stay like a 10-12. I had to work really hard to stay a 10-12. I've never been a 6'8", guys, like never. That's like dream weight to me. Like that's skinny to me. But I also grew up on the West Coast where I was around a lot of white and Asian culture, right? To where everybody was very thin. So all of my friends were like size 2, size 0. It wasn't like thick black girls. I'm talking West Coast, Cali, Seattle, Washington. It's a very white and very Asian. It's not a huge Black population where I grew up on the West Coast. And so I grew up kind of comparing myself, to all of the, uh, little tiny girls, and I'm just always felt fat my whole life. It didn't matter what size I was, guys. I was always the biggest girl in my clique or in my group because I was like a 10, 12, not a 2, 4, 6, or 8, right? So anyway, fast forward, and I'm in my 30s and I'm divorced and I'm dating, right? Good morning, Den. I'm dating. And so I literally worked really hard. Of course, became really, really great because I ended up becoming a dating and relationship expert and a matchmaker, guys. I understand the dynamics of dating. I understand the dynamics of attracting the opposite sex. I understand very well the visuals. I understand the mechanics of how to make yourself attractive when it comes to being single and how to meet the people you're wanting to date. I got that down to a science, right? And one of the parts of that science when it comes to dating is about really making sure for you personally, that you stay in a range that is perfect for your body type. Okay, perfect for your body type. Good morning, Nicole. So what does this mean? What am I saying? There's research that says that every woman is typically within 10 to 15 pounds of an ideal body weight. You're right. The lockdown is the perfect time to lose weight. Okay, so I had to give you more background. So I met my husband, guys. Mind you, like I was single. I worked really hard to maintain 10, 12. Why? Because like I'm mentioning, this research shows every woman is within about 10 to 15 pounds of ideal body image, body weight. Now, what does that mean? It means that when they did this research, you guys, it's not about what size you are. It's not about how much you weigh. It's more about what is typically considered to be visually appealing to the opposite sex, right? In other words, it's more about proportions. So every woman is typically about 10 to 15 pounds, and they just don't realize it because you're like, for me, all of my life, I was trying to be a size 6 or a size 8 when I was a 10, 12, right? So I'm kind of constantly beating myself up like, I need to lose 20 pounds. I need to lose 30 pounds. I need to lose 40 pounds. When in reality, sis, you're probably like 5 to 10 to 15 pounds away from an ideal body shape, an ideal silhouette. Not to say you're going to look like, some supermodel or be a size 2. What the research was saying is that visually, men find more of this silhouette. It's more about the proportions, the measurements, right? And how that comes together. In other words, let's make it real. Right now, if you have a little bit of a tummy, right? You probably in another 10 pounds, your stomach comes in just this much to where when you put on your dress or your jeans, or you put on your dress with your Spanx, it comes in and now you look like this and your stomach looks flat, and all of a sudden just that little small change, you're popping in a picture, you're popping when you're going out on dates, right? In other words, now all of a sudden in your jeans, or in your workout gear at the store, at the grocery store, you're getting second looks. It's very subtle, you guys. Angela says, I can agree with that. I'm a size 14 now, but that's larger for me. I prefer 10, 12. 20 pounds of weight loss will be better for me. Okay, but what I'm saying the research says, guys, is that on average, 10 to 15 pounds puts you into bait weight. And this is what I'm calling it, bait weight. What do I mean by bait weight? So here's my explanation of bait weight. So about 5 years ago when I met my husband, 5.5 years ago when I met my husband, I was bait weight. Okay, I was single, I was dating, I knew what I needed to look like, in order to be attractive to the type of men I wanted to date, I knew I needed to look like this in a certain range to attract the type of men. Charlene, I just told them about you putting me on the bait weight. You guys over here on Facebook, this is the lady who first mentioned bait weight. I just told them about you. And so what I learned was that I understood my own body and I understood my own visuals, right? My own visuals to understand that I was able to understand I needed to stay in this range in order to stay at bait weight. In other words, for women, you're going to understand what I'm saying. This is the results you get when you're at bait weight. When you're at bait weight and you're in the grocery store or you're out and about and a man sees you, he does a double take. It's like someone can see you and be like, oh, whoa, hey, who are you? And even if they don't talk to you, you get the looks, right? Because there's something about your shape, there's something about how you look that you're hitting in that range, you guys, that is attractive to most men or the average population. As long as he doesn't like super, super thin, or he doesn't like, plus size, super curvy girls, then you're falling within this range, because those men kind of tend to be more to the extremes. Your average man is falling right in the middle, to where when you're like between a 6 and a 14, right? Somewhere in there, 6 and a 12, that's where the majority of your men fall as far as what they're going to find attractive, right? You've got men who prefer very, very thin like models, and you've got men who prefer very plus size, super curvy girls. You've got those two ends, but the majority of the men fall between that 6 to 10, 8 to 12 range. Just as an example, I'm not, like I say, guys, I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just speaking what I know to be the truth. So when I was single and I was dating, I made sure I stayed in that 10. For me, it's like a 10, 12. And in that 10, 12 range, guys, as long as you love a curvy girl with a pretty face and pretty skin, and you don't want me to be stick thin, you like a girl with a little meat on her bones, I'm your cup of tea. And I'm going to be very attractive to that, in that range of men, right? I didn't have big breasts, so the breast men, I wasn't really their thing, right? I didn't have a huge boom boom, huge derriere. So it was more like just curvy with, a little bit of assets to match the curves, but not extreme like the dolls, the super diva video girls with the enhancements. I didn't look like that, but I was a curvy girl with nice little average assets, right? And as long as a man like that, then he was going to be crazy about me. So all I had to do was just make sure I stayed in this range, because in that range, I was always going to have a date. I was always going to have men interested in me. Okay? That's right. So literally, I stayed at bait weight all through a single, because that's why I was very successful at dating, you guys. Very successful. I could have a date any night of the week, whenever I want. It really is more scientific than what you guys realize. It really is science. And so I meet Carrie, right? I go into a relationship right when I meet him. All right, we're going to go ahead. No, I have to block somebody in a minute just by their username. Hold on. Okay. So scary old, creepy old pervert had to get blocked on YouTube. No, we're not going to go there today. So I started dating Carrie Pope, y'all, right? And immediately, there was one thing about him. I mean, all the pros, so amazing. I mean, just an amazing guy, crazy about him. But one of the things I notice about him is he was a Southern man. And when I say a Southern black man, like, he had no concern for calories. He had no concern for exercise. He had no thoughts of eating something green besides some collard greens on the side of some fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? It was wings and French fries and smothered. It was, you know, chicken fried steak, chicken fried chicken. It was mashed potatoes and gravy and pot roast. I mean, I think it's like every day, I think Carrie could eat something fried every single day. I mean, every day. And so when I'm dating him, I'm like, oh my God, Houston, we have a problem. Because for someone like me, I'm a thick girl. And I'm a foodie. That's the reason I would never be super thin, because I like food too much, right? And so the way I maintain my weight is literally just making sure I'm not around bad food. I'm not constantly, eating out. I'm cooking. I mean, I was just a healthy person, guys. I had to exercise. Maintaining that 10-12, guys, I was a very healthy person. Very healthy. I'm talking about lots of fruits and vegetables, exercise, lots of water, lots of fish. I mean, I had to do a lot to maintain 10-12. It wasn't easy, okay? So here comes Carrie Poe, and I had previously, you guys, realized in that last few years of being single when I was dating that I would intentionally choose to date men. Yes, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my Facebook, and subscribe to my YouTube. I don't even think about asking people to do that, guys, but everybody tells me I need to start asking people to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. So literally, I'm dating Carrie, and I'm like, okay, we have a problem. This man eats. And he had been thin all his life. Oh my God, he's back. He had been thin his whole life, guys. Carrie is a naturally thin man. He'd been thin his whole life. I got him again, guys. I don't know how he came back. He's a thin guy. So Carrie doesn't, and as he got older, you know how like really, really thin people, they have the metabolism and all that stuff, and they just, naturally like can eat whatever they want and don't gain a pound. That was never me, but that was him. And so in his 30s and 40s, now in his 40s, he's starting to gain weight because his metabolism is slowing down. He's getting a little older. So, he starts picking up a little bit of weight. But when I met him, that's not where he was at, even 5 years ago. That's not where he was at. So I'm being like, look, I'm not trying to eat these wings today. Baby, you look good. You ever been dating somebody who loves you and thinks you're beautiful, and then they literally are contributing to your downfall with your diet and health, because he's over there eating whatever he wants, and then he's telling me, baby, you can have this chicken. This ain't gonna hurt you. And especially in the South, y'all. In the South, versus the West Coast, I came down to the South like 16, 17 years ago, guys. And it's like in the South, all of a sudden, I'm popping. I'm in Atlanta. I'm a 10-12 curvy girl, and it's like, hey, with a pretty face, what? Woo! You got it going on, honey, and you're smart, what? And I'm just realized, I'm like, I just been in the wrong part of the country my whole life, right? And so I get down to the South, and so I'm dating a Southern man who likes the thickness, don't mind it, right? And is literally like encouraging me to eat. Okay, so here we go. I gained a little bit of weight while we were dating. I starved myself to get back to my normal weight to get married. So we're at the wedding. I probably was a few pounds over where I was at when I met him, but I had to really work hard to lose some pounds to even be ready for the wedding, right? Favorite first, you telling the truth, facts. They tell you that so nobody else will want you, okay? Okay, creepy old pervert. I don't know how you keep coming back, but man, you are a mess. So, so literally, I had to work my butt off to even fit into my wedding dress, guys, to be able to get married. But literally, you know, I'm getting married. Now we settle into married life. Now this is where it goes left. Because you get comfortable, you're with someone who loves you, you're chilling all the time, Netflix and chilling, we're eating wings and fries and sweets. And I think I tried to block him, Rochelle. I don't know. I don't be knowing all the techie stuff. Yeah, he said, Midwest Molly says, no, we don't, dear. Like, we say that because we love you, sexy too. Sometimes that's not good enough. Right. Like, Carrie swears up and down it's just because he loves me so much. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, you kind of want me to be a little chunky, right? And so, anyway, I literally start picking up weight. But here's the tricky part, guys. I don't even know that I'm picking up weight. This is so true. I need you guys to hear me because I've heard this before, but I didn't believe it. When you're getting fat and you're gaining weight, you don't really know it. Like, if you're gradually gaining weight, like really slowly, right? Really slowly, you don't realize it, especially for me. I'm newly married. I've moved out into the country. I'm wearing yoga pants and, little dresses that are wraparound would fit you at any size. I mean, I'm not, aware. I just still feel like my normal curvy self because then I wasn't getting on the scale. I wasn't on my workout routine. I wasn't on my healthy eating routine. That's right, Selena, and you're just feeling happy or in love. All you're doing is having sex constantly, eating, chilling, and working, And I'll never forget this, you guys. This was my wake-up call, and this is how you know when you are no longer bait weight. Okay? This is how you know. I was at the grocery store, and this is just the truth. Okay? Men, if you're not a woman, you don't understand this. But as a woman, if you are, attractive and you've taken care of yourself and you know what it is to get the attraction or looks from the opposite sex. You know what it feels like for men to notice you because you're attractive. Doesn't mean we're entertaining those men. Doesn't mean when we're in a committed relationship or love someone that we're flirting with him or we're going to give him the eye and he's going to come over and talk to us. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the fact that when you have been an attractive woman and all of a sudden you notice when men are no longer looking at you. You notice when you don't get the looks. You notice when the opposite sex stops feeling, stops paying attention, stops giving you. So I'm at the grocery store and I see this man, and you know how you notice when someone's attractive or, we all do this. You can't help it. When you see someone that's attractive, you kind of will do a double take, right? You'll do a double take. I saw a man and he was handsome or cute and I looked at him. But when he looked at me, his eyes, he just looked at me and just looked right past me. And I was like, wait a minute. What? This is what I've heard women say when they feel like they are invisible to men. They don't get attention from men. They don't get, he didn't even hesitate. He didn't look twice. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? Yes, Michelle, that's exactly what Aisha Curry was saying. And they jumped all over her and acted like she was being tripping because she was noticing after just having her last baby that she wasn't getting the looks. She wasn't getting the attention. Men weren't paying attention to her. And that's exactly the phenomenon that I'm talking about right now. And so I literally was like, whoa, what is going on? Because I'm in my marital bliss. I'm happy. I feel sexy. Everything, you know, I just feel like I'm me. And I went home and I got on the scale and I was literally almost 210 pounds. Guys, I am like 5'5", 5'6". I'm not, you know, that's an average height. I'm not that tall. It's not like I got a big boom boom derriere that's carrying a bunch of weight, or big tatas where I'm carrying a lot of weight. If I'm gaining weight and, you know, it's not going in my tatas and my boom boom, okay? It means I'm getting fat all over. It means I now have a stomach. My arms are big. And I literally got on that scale and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I had not weighed 210 pounds since I was like sick back when I was young, when I had got really big. And it was like this wake up call, guys, like, oh my God, I'm fat. I'm fat. I'm fat. And it was like this reality check, you guys, where I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. How did I let this happen? How did I let myself gain literally over 30 pounds in like less than a year, right? In less than a year, I had gained like 30 pounds that first year I was married. And I'm like, oh my God, from wedding weight to first year married, I had gained like 30 pounds. And so I literally was like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I go into freak out mode, guys, and I'm like trying to lose weight. Now at the same time, I was also someone who had very early onset of premenopause, perimenopause stuff. My mom had it really early too. And so around 39, I had noticed changes, you know, I was starting to have hot flashes. So this kind of all, you know, it was like a perfect storm. I got married right when I was entering into perimenopausal stuff. And it was this perfect storm for me to gain all this weight. So now I start trying to lose weight, and I'm really struggling because now it's the perimenopausal stuff. It's being married and adapting to that lifestyle, because now I'm cooking for Carrie. He wants to go eat out. It's very, you know, now I have this constant temptation, right? And it's like really, really hard because I'm a foodie, and if they want this food and this food's in the house, then now I'm dealing with my own self-discipline and struggles, where when I was single, I didn't have to deal with any of that because I could choose what was around my house. I could choose to just make my kids eat this little stuff. Now I got this husband and voila, right? And so I say all of this to bring you guys up here current now. Quarantine is one of the best things that's happened for me when it comes to my weight loss in these last few weeks, because all of a sudden we can't go out to eat. I've never really been a fast food person, guys. Mr. Pope and I spend a lot of money eating out, but we eat out good. You know, we're going out for steak. We're going out, you know, we eat good. And those are our dates. That's our, you know, I work from home. I'm constantly working. And when it's our time, you know, we'll eat out 2-3 times a week. And it's our fun time. We have drinks, wine, you know. I don't know how it kept coming back, guys. Anyway. So literally, you know, it took me probably I lost about 20 pounds. Last year before last, I lost about 20 pounds and I kept it off. I maintained it. I found what worked for me. In order to maintain it, I started counting my carbs and doing something called like lazy keto. And I hired a wellness coach. And, I started getting my hormones under control, and I was able to lose weight and keep 20 pounds off. Well, now here we are, fast forward to 2020, and here comes Corona. And I've been wanting to drop this next 20 pounds because I really want to go even lower, than where I am now. And so not eating out has been this blessing, you guys, because now because what I found is I could be eating on my healthy lifestyle and then go out with Carrie, and here you're at this yummy restaurant. I'm resisting the wine, I'm resisting, some potatoes, but then it comes time for dessert, and I'm like, oh, I want the cheesecake, I want the chocolate cake, and my sweets are my downfall, right? And so, and you're at, when you can eat whatever you want at these really nice restaurants, it's so difficult to stick to your regimen, right? And Alicia says, I cannot believe you are talking about this. I recently gained 30 pounds. I went from 121 to 151 in a year and a half. Somewhere along the way, I fell in love with food. Yes, Alicia. No, we were seeing it from him, Smart Cookie, but it started, I don't know what's going on with him. Anyway, so I understand what you're saying, Alicia. I've always been a foodie, guys. So I can admit that it's always been, a struggle for me. But it's been really, really a struggle since I got married. And when I was dating, guys, here's the thing. You never know who you're going to fall in love with. But I specifically know in the last few years that I was dating, I would intentionally choose to date men who were healthy, who loved the gym, loved to eat healthy, I would intentionally date men who were in shape, but they just happened to like me, being a little thicker, but they were a great influence, right? Because with dating somebody who is strong in an area where you're weak, it helps you to stay on task. It helps you to stay focused. They're a positive influence in an area where you may struggle. Well, I fall in love with Carrie Poe. I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But literally, here has been this struggle, especially since I was married, and I had to really find a way to work around it. So like I say, right now during Corona, I'm over here. I'm down 10 pounds just since Corona. 10 pounds just being in quarantine. Because the areas where I tended to struggle or would, because it's about consistency. We know weight loss is about consistency. And so now all of a sudden, I don't know how he's coming back on, guys. I just keep deleting it and blocking him. It's crazy. And I literally, realized that this is what I needed. I needed this time. I needed this break from normal life. I needed this break from, all the temptations of my normal life with my husband. And then, and Carrie's gained weight as well. And I, the other day he was like, you're trying, it's like he'd always kind of feel resentful that I'm trying to get him to eat healthy or, trying to get him to do what I'm doing. I did that one this last time, Veronica. I did that this last time. I blocked him a different way, I think. And so literally Carrie is now eating healthy, in quarantine. He's finally made up his mind he's going to lose because he's gained weight too. It's not just me. And I said to him the other day, I said, thank you, sweetheart. I think when you get married, you guys, and this is what I said to him. I said, if we're thinking like we're just the average couple, the average couple, guys, gets married and you can just be fat and happy together. The average couple are not public figures. The average couple are not doing videos. The average couple are not writing books. The average couple are not going to be on the cover of books. The average couple are not going to be on television, right? For Carrie and I, we are very much in the public eye. We're very much, in front of people. How we look really matters. Not that it doesn't matter for everyone, because you should be taking into consideration your health. Like they're saying with all of this corona, people who are dying have underlying health issues. And especially in certain cultures, you guys, a lot of people who are dying are overweight and obese. They're catching corona and dying because, see, in our society, being overweight is so common and being obese is so common that we don't even think of it as a health issue. We don't even think of it as an underlying health issue. So now corona comes along and you've got Black people dying at a much faster rate from corona than other races, and they're talking about it. It's trending right now. Because why? Black people with diabetes, high blood pressure, overweight, they catch corona and they're struggling to fight it. And these things are now so common in our culture that we don't really stop and realize these are really truly health issues. They're health issues. So even when you're not in the public eye, even when it's not just about looking good, that's right, you have asthma. Asthma is an underlying health issue. And so literally, guys, it's like getting healthy and staying healthy is good for you all the way around. It's not just because of dating. It's not just to look good for your partner or for your own self-esteem. It's got major, major health ramifications. And I'm one of those people, I'm very aware of this. I've studied this stuff for years. My family has a lot of longevity. My aunts and uncles literally are dying in their 80s and 90s. There is longevity in my genes, okay? But when I look at my aunts and uncles and how they live, I'm originally from Ohio, they live a pretty healthy lifestyle. They have stayed busy and active. They're like 90 years old, still working on their rental properties, still going to the swim class, still walking, still riding their bikes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not your average 90-year-old. And I'm like, that's me. Right now, every time I get a checkup, I'm from Delaware, Ohio, Jelly Bean. I'm from Delaware, Ohio, right outside of Columbus. And so when I get a checkup, guys, and I literally am able, he's a hacker, guys. So literally for me, I have great health, really great health, guys. When I get my physicals and my checkups, I'm 45 years old now, okay? And when I get a checkup, they said, they're always amazed. The doctors are amazed because they're like, wow, you're in perfect health. Literally my heart, my blood, my organ function, everything, guys, I'm so healthy across the board, and I'm on no medications. I refuse to even take birth control, you guys. I'm one of those people, I try to stay as natural and healthy as possible because I believe that a lot of these man-made drugs are part of what messes us up. My mother died from taking a premenopausal hormone therapy drug when she started going through menopause and had all these horrible symptoms. And she goes to the doctor, she gets on some drug that's supposed to help with the side effects of menopause, but then it causes cancer. And my mom died of cancer. She fought ovarian cancer for 10 years, but would have never had it if she never would have gone on this crazy drug. And then years later, they come out and say, oh, this drug causes cancer. Duh. That would have been nice for you to say way before you started putting millions of women on this drug. There's no ovarian cancer in my family's lineage, no ovarian cancer anywhere in our family, breast cancer nowhere in our family. And my mom, the youngest of her siblings, pops up, fights it for 10 years and dies, while all of her older siblings who never took any of that are still living into their 80s and 90s. So my mom would still be here today if she had never went on a man-made drug, right? And so after my mom died, guys, I was like, you couldn't pay me to take nobody's drugs. I refuse all birth control. I refuse any kind of, the IUDs, anything where they're putting something in you. They don't know what this stuff's going to do to you 10 years down the road. They don't know. I refuse. I'm going to live to be 90, 100 years old and be living my best life all the way up through there. I'm not trying to be unhealthy, which also brings me back to weight, right? Bait weight. Even when you get married, stay at bait weight. So I'm in the grocery store yesterday. Back to the grocery store, guys. And I'm shopping. I just went to go grab a few things that we'd run out of. And thank you, Yvette, sweetheart. And I'm in the grocery store and I'm shopping and I'm walking down and I look to my left and I see this man and he sees me and he did a double take. He went like this. You know how when you do a double take, when you see someone, but then you look again and they're checking you out? And I was like, I'm back to bait weight. I'm getting back to bait weight, guys. Like, I know that, like I said, I already gave my caveat to this. It's not about entertaining some men. You guys know how much I love Carrie Hope. I ain't studying no men. But the second look, I'm no longer invisible. I'm not invisible. When you get beyond your bait weight, when you get beyond, this is what I said. Everybody has their range that's perfect for them, right? This is what I say. Listen, there's a range, you guys. There's a range. And like I need to write a book about this. Like for every 10 pounds that you go above your ideal proportion weight, it's not about a size or how much you weigh, but your ideal proportion weight. For every 10 pounds that you go up beyond that, you are going to, and this is especially for the single people, you're going to see a decline in how much attraction you get, how much attention you get, in your opportunities to date, for who's attracted to you and who. In other words, your options, as your weight goes up, your options go down. I'm telling the truth. I know Mr. Pope ain't gonna like it, but I'm just telling the truth. He's gonna get me. You're right, favorite first. He's gonna get me, but I just gotta tell the truth, guys, because I hope this helps somebody, right? So here's another thing, ladies, and this is what I want you to hear me, really hear me. So I've recently lost this extra weight, right? So, and Carrie Pope is like, I'd never have to complain about your weight. You know, I love you, any size, because my husband, he'll want me all the time, guys. At my highest, he wanted me and loved me and telling me I'm beautiful and sexy. That never wavered. I'm honest. He's really, really wonderful. But the other day, I'm coming out of the bathroom, okay? And he was on his phone or on his laptop or something sitting on the bed. And he literally, when he looked up, he did a double take and was like, ooh, girl, you look good. You look good. You're so beautiful. And I was like, 20 pounds ago, 30 pounds ago, he wasn't doing that. He still loved me. He didn't complain. You understand what I'm saying? He still is initiating sex. He's still wanting me. He's still loving. But that look, that double take, where you catch your partner's attention, because I'm looking more like what I looked like when he met me. Thank you, Veronica. It proved my point. It proved my point. From my own husband, he did a double take and was like, ooh, girl, you looking good. You see what I'm saying? So even when they still love you when you're getting bigger, and they still love you right after you have a baby, and they still love you and they still want to have sex, and nothing about that changes. But I'm talking about that wow factor. I'm talking about that attraction. I'm talking about, where you are really keeping your partner's attention. And for those of you who are single, I'm saying for you to get the attention from the people you want, not just whoever is liking you. Get to your bait weight. Get to your perfect weight for you. And like I say, you notice I'm not putting numbers on that. Back to the research I said, most women are within 10 to 15 pounds of their ideal weight. There you have it. I'm not saying go, lose 50 pounds. I'm saying, and if you get honest with yourself, and here's the other test, guys. I'm not talking about if you're in the grocery store half naked. Now listen, ladies, if you go out dressed super provocative, showing all your baby cakes and all your boobies and everything out, skin showing, or something super tight and everything's out, you're going to get attention because you're being very provocative. But can you turn heads, and is someone giving you a double take, a second look, if you're all covered up? It's not super tight. It's not super provocative, over the top sexy, where you're in the grocery store with a skin tight dress on, or whatever. No, are you turning? Because there is a difference in the type of attention you can get. And sometimes women can very much misconstrue, attention. Because just because you dress super sexy and you're like, well, I get attention. Yeah, but can you get attention in jeans and a t-shirt? Just being not all super sexy, provocative with everything showing, but can you get that second look and attention? Lucy said more like pound cakes. And so this is, I guess this is like that auntie conversation, girls, right? Where somebody is telling you, if you're not getting the attention and you're not meeting the men, and this also goes for dating and even with internet dating, right? On the dating apps, you don't think that somebody sitting there looking at those pictures can say whether or not you're bait weight? I'm just telling you the truth. It's the truth. You take those pictures and you're looking like this, right? You're going to attract, of course, you attract the men just wanting to have sex too, but you'll also attract men on a different caliber and standard who are looking at you as wife material. Also, those are the ones you want. You want to entertain those. But if you're not at bait weight, a lot of the time, the attention you get will be mostly just from the men who are wanting to smash and dash. Because they're not trying to wife you. They're not trying to hold your hand in public. They already know they would never marry you. And I'm just telling the truth, guys. And I'm telling it from my own perspective, so you can't get mad at what I'm saying. I'm saying to you, for every 10 pounds that I went up in weight, and for every 10 pounds that all of a sudden my body was changing, and it was one thing to be curvy with a small waist and your stomach looks flat, to all of a sudden have a stomach, your arms are bigger, you're bigger overall. Now I'm just looking like a big girl. Now I'm just looking fat. And you may not like it. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being very thin and very, very curvy and being a big girl. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. But what I'm saying is that both of those extremes literally have more of a smaller, narrow window for what men like. They have a smaller window. Black women have high self-esteem regardless of weight. Awesome. A study showed 99% of Black women think they look good compared to 30 to 40% of other races. I love that about us. Health is important, though. You are so right. Empathetic insights. It's so right. It is so right. But here's where it's a downfall when it comes to dating in the opposite sex. And I saw this a lot even in my matchmaking agencies, you guys. So I would see it's all, I don't know what I would call it, but it's like a phenomenon. Like it's a real thing. So let's just say, someone obese or very big would come through the agency looking to be matched. And when we would ask them to show us pictures of their exes or their previous boyfriends, they would send over the pictures, you guys. And I mean, we're talking about drop dead gorgeous men. We're talking about men with washboard abs. We're talking about men who look like they're fitness trainers or models or actors. I mean, some of these pictures that would come over and you're like, okay, this is who you were dating. This is, and literally then, and what this, I'm just giving you my experience as a matchmaker, guys, like real talk. So at first I'm like, okay, well, she out here catching, right? The naive part of me and inexperienced part of me is like, okay, well, maybe, these are the men, they really were into big girls, and, this is who really liked her and she was in a relationship or dating them. And there are men who like really, really big girls. So then though, and I'm talking over years of doing this, what I began to discover when I would ask them questions, these men were never their boyfriends. These men were never their fiancés. These men were never in official relationships. These men were literally cut buddies, friends with benefits, situationships. These dudes are smashing and dashing, guys, right? These men were hitting it, but they weren't claiming them in public. They weren't walking down the street holding their hand, this is my lady, introducing her to his friends, introducing her to his family. It was never official. And and one of the hardest parts about my job as a matchmaker in that situation was getting really, really real with these clients, because it's like, sweetheart, these men, the type of man you'll marry versus the type of men you've been, smashing and dashing with is like apples and oranges. So in their mind, what the ego had done, and back to what you had said about Black women having really, really high confidence, is that in their mind, you guys, it was like they really could get a man like this. They just hadn't met the right man who was ready to settle down. So they had told themselves that these men were on their level and they could really realistically meet, date, and marry a man on this that looked like that, but they just hadn't met the right one. And so they're not thoughts, Smart Cookie, because the truth is a lot of women find themselves in situationships with dudes where it's nothing official. They're just sexing each other, but a woman has gotten caught up in her head thinking this is something more than it is. So no, it's not just them. It's not just them. So in reality though, their ego is like thinking like, this is what I deserve. Right. Or they may have had money too, but also been a big girl. So they had some dudes that were kind of like, con artists, dudes that were, there is definitely gold digger dudes who will be sexing the big girls for the benefits, and that girl paying his car note, and she's, doing the most for him, and she thinks this is a relationship, but he's just using her, and so one of the biggest issues that I ran into was in getting these women to come to the understanding that they had unrealistic expectations. And in my experience as a matchmaker, oh, okay, honey, no problem. One of my experiences as a matchmaker, guys, was that people tend to have or can have very unrealistic expectations when it comes to the opposite sex. but then you become the enemy when you're telling them the truth. You know, you become the enemy when you're telling them the truth about all of these situations or their relationships or the reality of, you know, of what they've been doing. And I think that one of the things that's most difficult is being able to understand that what you want, you know, really has to want you too. What you want has to want you too. And so I think a lot of the time in women's minds, you know, the ego gets so, especially because you've got women who are doing very, very well, guys. You know, it's like the ego is there, like, I'm this, I'm that, I make this money, I have all this. And, you know, I've gone into that subject quite a bit. But at the end of the day, our physical visuals, who we, you know, physically really, really matters. Really matters. That's right, Jacqueline. The truth hurts, but it's necessary for growth. And so, you know, like I say, it's not about being any particular weight or size, but it is about being the best weight you can for yourself, the perfect weight you can for yourself, versus if you are very, very, very overweight, but then you're mad because the stream, you know, the average man doesn't find that attractive. But now men become junk, men become losers, men become horrible, horrible people because the average man doesn't like this size or like how you look or find that attractive. And now you're mad. But in reality, we live in a culture where there is a range of what is considered to be attractive on average. There is a range, and it's a pretty wide range. But if you fall way out beyond that range, you may find it very difficult to date what you feel you deserve, or date what would be a match for you in all of the other levels or all of the other things, not just, you know, when it comes to weight. Anyway, I love you guys. I have talked for over an hour. Anybody have any questions or anything they want to talk about as I wrap up? I'm going to start to do the Rebecca Lynn Pope show more often because it's fun, and I really need the downtime, guys. I need the downtime. For me, coming on and just talking about whatever is just like so much fun because I'm always working. I'm always working. Anybody have anything they want to talk about or share before we get ready to wrap up? So I'm going to start to do the Rebecca Lynn Pope show. In the comments, if there's anything that you want me to talk about coming up, right? If there's anything you want to talk about and want me to cover in the Rebecca Lynn Pope show coming up, put the comments in, ask your questions, and I'll pick some of your topics and questions and topics to talk on next. And I'll also let you guys know as soon as we're ready. I'm ready to make the Rebecca Lynn Pope show like a steady time, you know, like in other words, do it once a week, certain time of the week. So that way you guys can tune in. Nicole says, thank you for this topic. Still working on my weight loss for health reasons. Can you talk more about this stuff? What stuff? Thank you, Avina. Dating a mama's boy. Can you please cover this? Okay. Is Monday morning prayer over? Deja, for now, Monday morning prayer is over. I have so much going on and so much to do, Deja, that I found that I'm not able to commit to Monday morning prayer. Okay, I'm gonna look at your comments. You're welcome, guys. All right. Talk more about what stuff, Andre. Make sure you put it in the comments so I make sure I look at your topic so I can cover more of it. But I will let you guys know when I'm coming back for more Rebecca Lynn Pope show. And it's just like I say, my random thoughts and things that I'm kind of, you know, crossing my mind. Island Girl, what is your process for weight loss? I'm struggling with my weight even though my man loves it. Island Girl, what's worked for me to lose weight and maintain my weight is counting carbs and exercise and lots of water. Counting carbs. For me, what really worked for me is about 20 to 30 net carbs a day. And then I would, and when I go into maintenance mode, I do 20 to 30 grams of carbs during the week. And then on the weekends, I would go out with Carrie and have fun and eat whatever I want. And doing 5 days a week of 20 to 30 net carbs and then eating whatever I want on the weekends, I was able to maintain my weight. So that's just a tip. And I can do another talk about that and how it's worked well for me going forward, guys. But that's what I did to maintain. When I'm trying to lose, I just stick to the 20 to 30 grams. Yeah, consistently. Thank you, Jacqueline. You're so sweet. All right, please, more tips on weight. I'll definitely give more tips on weight in another segment, Nicole. All right, love you guys. Have a great Wednesday. I'm going to continue to chill and have a good time today. I have to take some downtime. I was getting really too caught up in working too hard and getting some things done, putting too much pressure on myself. So this was my downtime, my stress relief. All right, guys, love you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.